reason for depression and how to deal with it.
91% of our worries about the problem, they never come true.
And it end up being so much heavy on your mind that you cannot do the things which you should do in your daily life, and it affects you so much more.
And then suddenly we are already trapped, and it's very difficult to overcome this.
Right.
Yes, so that was the reason why that many people, that we had lots of breakups worldwide. Okay, in terms of burnout, yes, which is also stress related to work, is number 2, and in terms of depression is number 1 in whole. This has lots of benefits, scientifically proven that meditation is really, really good, and only by connecting to yourself you also can understand better your strengths, but not also your strengths, your weaknesses.
Okay, so is there any clear way or tips to understand yourself better and understand the things you are insecure about? Hi Cristiano, how are you?
Hi Debmalya, I'm fine. How about you today?
Yeah, it's going great. Previously, I have shoot with you the leading to education part. So here we are about the mental health issues and FOMO and anxiety and depression and all this mental health problem actually. So let's get into it. So we have already introduced yourself in this podcast in previously, so we don't need anymore. People already know you how good you are at these things. So yeah, so the first question about the mental health issues is, why is there a certain hike in mental health issues among the Gen Z and millennials?
Yeah, indeed. The numbers of depression, anxiety, and also burnout, yes, which is the stress related to work, have been increasing very, very rapidly and also worldwide, yes. And more people, they feel sometimes helpless how to overcome it, yes. And I think that the pandemic, this really increased this feeling, yes, that was already in place. Okay, so this is not something new. Okay, that was something that already existed before the pandemic, yes, with the corona. But I think that since the pandemic started, I think that this feeling of ambiguity, complexity, and also uncertainty about the future, this really increased. And this is the main reason why that people in general, okay, not only people from Generation Z and millennials, yes, and I think that's also good to explain a little bit more about your audience. Yes, Generation Z are everyone who are between 10 years old until 25, 26 years old, and millennials are people like me, people from 26 years old up to 41 years old. Yes, so I think that the pandemic really impacted everyone. So no one was immune, yes, from the impacts from the pandemic, but mostly these two generations, yes, especially the millennials were, yes, so we are in outnumber in the world. We were one of the main affected ones, yes, so this is one of the reasons why.
Okay, that's something we should talk about. Yeah.
Sure.
So the next question is, why should we talk about it more openly in this 21st era? Because many people are facing these problems and many people are facing this kind of mental health issues out there and suffering from it. So what's your take?
Yeah, so it's very, very important to talk about it, especially for creating this awareness, okay? Yeah. Because as I said, no one is immune, yes, to the mental issues that was mainly increased and brought by the pandemic. Yeah, so everyone, we are having struggles in different levels, in different proportions, but no one of us, we are not immune to it. And I think that's very important to talk about it, like to make it public, right. To have no fear to talk about things which is something which is in common to every one of us, because all of us, we are human beings.
Yeah.
Yes, we are moved by our emotions, and we have to understand how we can better regulate our emotions in order to better deal with all these challenges that we have in day-to-day life. Yes, so I think that, so that's why it's important to talk about it. Yes, for creating this awareness, and before this is too late, because when someone is able to talk about it, sometimes the person is already having or passing through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
So only by talking, yes, fearless, only by talking, that we can prevent it, you know. And I think that this is the main reason why that we should talk about mental
Yeah.
health more and more nowadays throughout all the generations.
Yeah. And this is something we haven't really talked about in India, and I think for Brazil for sure, and maybe Brazilians are also facing this kind of things, means this kind of mental issues, which we are Indians suffering here. So the thing is, we have to more openly talk about the things. This is not nothing. This is nothing like we are ashamed of. We shouldn't be ashamed of the things which we are facing in our daily life. So this is something like, we shouldn't ignore it, because if you ignore something like mental issues, it will ruin your whole day. And by ignoring it day by day, you will decrease your productivity. You will lose your focus on the things which you should work on, and it will just ruin your the goal and the purpose of your life. So this is something we should talk about. This is something we which is which we should not ignore it. And in this our Indian culture, it is better to talk about these things more openly. So
Yes.
do you feel like Brazilians are also facing this kind of effects and issues in this era?
Unfortunately, yes. Okay, so also bringing some statistics to our conversation. Yes,
Mm,
unfortunately, my country, my beloved country, Brazil,
mm.
uh, is a number one according to the World Health Organization, the WHO,
Whoa.
in terms of anxiety. Yes, in terms of cases of anxiety, is number one worldwide. Okay, in terms of burnout, yes, which is also stress related to work,
Mm-hmm.
is number two, and in terms of depression is number one in the whole American continent. So all the Americas, yes, South
Yeah,
America,
yeah,
North America, and also Middle America, Central
yeah,
America. Brazil is number one in terms of depression. So these numbers are really scary. Yes, this is something that we definitely should talk more about it. Yes, because many people are suffering from it, but many people are not even able to name it. Okay,
wow,
so they have the feeling, they have the symptoms, but they just do not know what this is about. Yeah, so this is the reason why that we have to talk openly about it in order to make it people aware of
mm,
this problem. Like, so it
yeah,
doesn't make you like less than anyone else,
yeah,
but this means that you need to find help.
yeah,
Yes, and this is exactly what we are talking about today.
yeah. Uh, that's a horrific number, man. I didn't know that this kind of effects are having the world. So, just to let you know, guys, India is facing the mental health issues for like the highest number of diseases are increasing day by day, and it's 10 million plus. And that's the thing, yeah. Uh, and this is the result of our ignorance. This is the result of our, uh, saying that, oh, it's okay, man, you are facing some mental issues, it's okay, take a chill pill, get rest, take rest and go to sleep. It's okay, we should do that. But thing is, we should more openly go to the therapist, uh, uh, to do the CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy. If you don't know that, it's a therapy for the psychological behavior like this, the health issues, mental health issues. And do you have anything to talk about the CBT and why we should do that?
I mean, there are many ways in order to get prevented from it. Okay? One of these ways, for example, is also recurring to emotional intelligence. Okay, and why? Because many people, they do not know how to better manage their emotions. Okay, some people are just like they are just drained by their emotions, and they do not know how to manage this in a better way. Okay, so if you are able to develop your emotional intelligence, you are also able to develop your resilience, your know how to handle well in a stressful situations, for example. So you can better handle stressful situations in general. So since you have more clarity about how your emotions work, or what could be your potential triggers that could lead you to some stressful situations, to some um, um, emotional state which is disadvantageous for you, you are also better prepared for better handle such a stressful situation, and then getting best results from them. So there are other ways in order to get helped. Yes, but for sure, if you are already in a situation that you are very advanced in any mental disease, for example, and you definitely should find therapists, psychologists, psychiatric, and so on. But the thing is, you there are ways in order to prevent from this. Okay, and I think that is exactly what we can work more, not only by talking, but also finding some ways in order to prevent some mental disorders.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. So the next question is, what is exactly feeling like in a state of anxiety and a depressed state, which is, we should, able to handle it more properly, because in this era, in this social media era, we are facing more anxious things like, betraying, this uh, anxiety, many kind of depression, and facing some rejection. What is the thing we should do in this state?
Yeah, so you brought a very interesting topic, which is the role of the social media in this context. Yes, in this situation. I think that since the pandemic, yes, especially because of the social distancing, yes, many people, they were led to spend more time on social medias. Yes, and more people try to have the maximum of the content in a short period of time. And this is the reason why, for example, the TikTok is so popular. Yeah. So I think that the pandemic really increased many things, yes, that were already placed, and that now we are experiencing in a more with much more intensity. Yes, and one of the things was the social distancing. Yes, that we had, especially the peak of the pandemic, that many people, they had to stay at home and having no contact with other people.
Right.
So by staying at home, many people also started to spend more time on social medias for just spending time, and this also promoted that people also started to look for the maximum of content in a even shorter period of time. Okay, right. And this is the reason why that TikTok became so popular around the globe, especially because TikTok is able to deliver that. Yes, many like condensed content, which is delivered in a smaller period of time. Okay, yeah. And this also explains why the TikTok social media was also considered top one in terms of visits, if they even surpassed Google in terms of search, yes, on the internet. So this explains lots of things. But the bad thing regarding this is that this definitely overwhelms our brain. And why? Because there are so many information that we are consuming so much information lately that our brain is not able to process all this information. And this is exactly that leads us to some mental issues and especially anxiety. Anxiety is one of them.
Yeah, and it is suddenly increasing so rapidly.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Because it's not only the speed of the internet or speed of the information that we have out there, it's also the speed of the things that we are suffering from. All this this disorder of technology and also information consumption. So this is something that we have to do it in a more conscious way. Yes.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we're gonna have even more anxiety people.
yeah, that is right. So my next question is, uh, the reason for depression and how to deal with it.
Okay, so regarding anxiety, um, in general, anxiety is about overthinking the future. Yes, when you think too much about the future. Yes,
Hmm.
what's coming, what's happening to you, and so on. And sometimes we find ourselves in a situation that we are completely flooded with problems, with things that we have to solve, or in order to meet some others' expectations and so on. So we are surrounded by many problems. Yes,
Yeah,
and this also leads us to the situation that that we are powerless, that we don't have, that we are not in charge, that we are not that all the situation is not under our control.
right.
Okay, the thing is that the worries of the day-to-day life, I mean, they won't stop to come to us,
Yeah.
you know. So it's the opposite. We have to recognize, yes,
Hmm.
that life is also made of situations like this, and it's up to us to how to better handle with all these things, yes, with all these situations.
Right.
But that was very interesting. You know why? Because I read an article, a scientific article, that they did some uh, research, and then they proved that up to 91% of our worries about the problem, they never come true.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
Right.
so we spend more time worrying about what's coming, what is holding us in the future,
Right.
than really living the present moment. Okay, and this is what leads people to anxiety.
Right.
Okay, another thing that we also have to be very careful is that the way that we perceive reality, yes, the way that we perceive reality in the outside world is through our senses, yes. And but the problem is that according to what I sense the reality, according to I perceive the reality, our brain also process all these informations with lots of errors.
Yeah.
So we also have to be very careful about what we are hearing, about what we are seeing, about what other people are also speaking about. Yes, because not everything is true. Yes,
Yeah.
and we have to be very careful because the way that we are inputting this information in our brain is also processing them with lots of errors, and this also increases our anxiety. So my main message here is our brain is tricking us all the time,
Yeah.
and do not worry too much, okay, because most of our worries, they never come true. Okay, most
Yeah.
of these worries, you know, like, do you know who invented most of these worries? Ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of these worries,
Yeah.
we are the responsible for creating them.
Hmm.
So as soon
Right.
as you are aware of this, and then you can get better prepared for dealing better with your anxiety.
Hmm. I think overthinking and assumptions are the killers of our, self-awareness and the self-sabotaging thing. You know,
Also,
yeah.
yes. Yes,
I
this imposter syndrome.
yeah, right. Okay. I also sometimes been into this overthinking stage where I think about the things which is not maybe possible, maybe not, but I end up thinking about the things which is more likely to uh, you know be in the fairy tale world, and maybe it's something like insecurities about the body, insecurity about the career, insecurity about the future, the uncertainty, and this all things comes to mind, and break the pattern of our day, and it end up being procrastinated on the things which you should do on the daily life.
Mm-hmm. And
Like,
the main reason for it?
the reason is very different, and yeah, I think maybe for me it's personally because of the things which I am facing on my career, and like as I said earlier that I am doing the programming and coding. So if I face something like error, and I think like, oh my God, I'm facing some error. And maybe I'm not a good programmer. Maybe I'm not a great coder. I don't I maybe it's not just for me, maybe just for others, but not for me. Maybe it's something like height insecurity about among the men. In these teenage years we are so much insecure about the things uh, which we should not do, and maybe it's not controllable. You cannot control your height, you cannot control your future, but you can control your present. I know that, but still I do end up procrastinating on the things by overthinking on the things which you should not do.
Yes, and you already answered yes my question when you said that mainly of this problem. I mean, this can have lots of sources. Yes, but one of the main cause of it is the comparison. Yes, when you
Yeah.
find yourself in comparing yourself all
Hmm.
the time with someone who is performing better than you at your job, performing
Yeah.
you better
Yeah.
than you at your studies, at your college, and so on. You
Right.
know, so when you are in a real connection to yourself, so this is the best way in order to find yourself, the values that you have, and the uniqueness that you have, that like that makes like
Yeah.
that makes you this very unique person
Yeah.
that cannot be comparable to anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, so when you have clarity on this, and then you can overcome a bit of this insecurity.
Yeah.
But one of the first things is stop comparing yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you are unique, you are special. So do not compare yourself. There are talents, there are things that only comes from you, and no one can take this away.
Yeah.
So when you have this clarity on this, and that is also strengthens you in terms of, okay, maybe I'm not at as good as some person in
Yeah.
some specific area, but this doesn't decreases me, this doesn't pushes
Yeah.
me down, this doesn't make me smaller than anyone else. Okay, because every one of us, we have different talents, and
Yeah.
we have to shape them.
Yeah.
We
Right.
have to keep developing them, because this is the best way in order to create your authenticity. Yes. So if I could
Yeah.
if I could also leave some hints here, this was one of them.
Yeah, I felt your words. That's so true. And I think that for me it's just for the other peoples are talking about the things which you are lacking. Like maybe for me what I have realized that I didn't care about the things which I have, like heights, body weight, or maybe looks, maybe the things which I'm lacking in my career, like uh, uh, maybe taking time on programming things like that. But after people like our friend group, while they are talking about the things which you are lacking, like other peoples are bullying you, they are breaking you down, and it end up being so much heavy on your mind that you cannot do the things which you should do in your daily life, and it affects you so much more.
Hmm. Yes. I just like to give you just a little correction. Yes, they
Yeah,
will try to break you down,
yeah,
but is it still completely up to you to allow them to be
yeah,
successful in this or not?
right, right.
Okay, so short message: find your talents, shape them, and never stop polishing them. Okay, and the things that you are good at, no one can take away from you. Okay,
Yeah,
just find your talents, polish them, and keep working on them, and then because this will bring you to the greatness. Yes, so
yeah,
this will bring you to the excellence
yeah,
because you identified it. Yes, and then you are
yeah,
keeping working on this,
yeah,
and then for sure this also will bring you to this mastery. Okay, and do not care too much about others. You know? So some
yeah,
people they do not love not even themselves, so do not help. So do not wait that people will have some demonstration of love for you.
yeah.
You know.
Maybe is the thing because of the Hollywood and Bollywood things that movies are making us so much thinking about the perfection. And maybe look, this is my realization that no one is perfect, and everyone have their flaws, everyone have their weaknesses, everyone have their pros and cons. So better to focus on your pros rather than cons, because maybe it's not controllable, and 99% of the things which you have is not controllable and you cannot control them, but you can control your present day, what you are doing, what you are good at. So focus on your controllable things rather than things which you cannot control. And yeah, everyone is with their flaws and no one is perfect. So yeah, he is right that maybe is the time to change your mind from the perfection to accepting the flaws and move on the things which you are good at. Yeah,
Very well said.
yeah,
Congrats.
yeah. So the next thing is, have you ever felt like FOMO or insecurity about the things, like fear of missing out on things in the daily life, that we are facing something like information overload, and on YouTube I often browse on the things which is interesting news, interesting affairs, the self improvement parts, the health self help parts, and I get overwhelmed by the things they used to teach us. So have you felt like that? And is it good for your health? Is it good for your mind that to be overwhelmed by the things in the early stage?
So yes, I already had it. Yes, and
Yeah.
from time to time, I also feel like tempted, also for being attracted by the
Mm,
FOMO. Yes, as you said, it stands for this fear of missing out.
right.
Okay, and for sure, this is not a healthy thing. Okay, so answering your second question, this is not a healthy thing. This is something that we always have to be alert in order not to allow to be seduced by it. Okay,
Mm,
and why? Because this is an emotional response. Okay, this is an emotional response to the belief. Okay, again,
right.
our brain is tricking us. Yeah, so not everything that we are seeing or listening to, this is the real true. Okay, the real reality. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but our brains are always tricking us, and sometimes when we have this belief, okay, that again, not necessarily is true,
Mm,
but sometimes when we have this belief that someone else is having a better life,
mm,
a more satisfying life,
mm,
and we have this feeling that in fact is fear, but we have this emotion of that we may be missing something also important, you know.
mm.
But again, this also comes from most of the time from comparison, you know.
Right.
If you stop, like you really have to understand the root cause of this, like so if we are just like trying to how to deal better with FOMO, but if you're
Mm,
not really attacking, the stages that come before it in order to really become a real fear of missing out, you can always be trapped in this situation, so you
right.
really have to really cut off the root cause of it. And most of the things this comes from comparing yourself with others, like, so as you said, there's Hollywood, Bollywood scenes and so on. This also brings lots of comparisons. Oh my goodness, but that person has the same age of mine, but that person looks taller, looks more handsome, looks this, look this, and then we start to be consumed by this thought, by this belief, and this is so serious that this is really becoming a real psychological phenomenon worldwide. Okay, throughout all generations, but the generation which is more impacted is the Generation Z. Yes, young people like you from 10 years old up to 26 years old. So you guys from this generation also should be very careful in not comparing yourself to anyone, and really being aware that all the time that this thought, try to flood you with, you are less, people are happier, other people are happier, other people are living better lives than you, and so on. So if you stop this thought and stop comparing with others, you can better deal with this fear of missing out.
Right, you were right. That we often compare ourselves with others and the things which we cannot control. Right. So the next question is, why do we feel so lonely nowadays? And is social media making us feel more lonely and making us feel so anxious?
Yes. So it's also related to what I just said regarding the fear of missing out, because since it's an emotional response, I guess, to seeing others apparently being more successful than us, this also could lead us to this deeper sense of social inferiority. Okay, we feel less than others. We can feel less than others. Okay, again, this is still up to us. But this can definitely lead some people to having this sense of social inferiority, and this also leads to loneliness. Yes, because this sometimes also makes people to feel a little bit more awkwarded by the situation, by the social context that they are in. Okay, and for sure, social media is also there not for helping this, especially as you said, people who are scrolling all day Instagram, and people are only sharing successful stories. They're only sharing how happy they are, how successful they are, how rich they are, and then again, this is also triggering in other people this gap, like this things that these people are missing, and so in the end, everything is related. Yes, everything is linked, and again, we have to be very careful about what we are seeing and how we are conditioning our brain to process that information, because from time to time this also can be true for us, and this is the risky part. This is the dangerous part, because as soon as we when we solidify this belief that this is the reality, and then suddenly we are already trapped, and it's very difficult to overcome this.
So do you have any tips or something like that to overcome the mobile addiction and the social media addiction?
So what I also do for myself, okay, because no one is immune to it, I hide, for example, if I'm working, and I hide my mobile phone. So my mobile phone is not on my site.
Okay.
Because if you have your mobile phone on your site, you always will feel trapped in this situation that you feel tempted in order to grab your mobile phone for checking your social media, for checking your WhatsApp, for checking the messages, for doing whatever is needed in order to be distracted from that thing that you have to do. Okay, so if I can, there are also many other things to do. So there are some apps that you also can install in your phone for control the time that you spend on some specific apps. There are also this something very helpful. Okay, something which is really helpful. Just turn off all those notifications.
Like
Okay, so
app blocker type.
no, you just go to the configuration to your app, and then there is this option there, like turn on and turn off the notifications.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yes, and this is really important. And why? Because there is one study from the University of California that showed that every time that you get distracted by anything, I mean, if you are, for example, focused on doing something, you are studying, you are working, you are spending time with your family, whatever, okay? This study showed that every time that you get interrupted by these distractions, the brain takes up to 23 minutes in order to get back to the point that you stopped, that you were stopped. Okay, and notifications, they are very good at distracting you. So it's not good for us, you know, because they are attention dealers. Yes, they are always trying to distract you. So also for showing, yes, that you are in charge, that you are the person who has the control on the situation, that you are not like taken control by your mobile phone, for example. Just turn off the notifications and just try to check your messages, for example, only from time to time. You know, like, so for example, I'm talking to you right now here. Soon I'm having lunch, and only after that I'm checking my messages. You know, like, I don't have to do it on an often basis, but I'm just setting some time frames that I'm checking, and I'm not like doing it all the time. Otherwise, all the time I have to force my brain to get back to the point where I stopped, and this is not good. You know, like, so this is not helping your brain to get overloaded, to get unloaded by this pressure, this overload of information.
Right. So the next question is why are we facing sudden growth in the breakups and relationship problems? Like, is it for the dopamine in the things, new things, new persons, or is it for the social media which is making us more choosy, making us more having so much options over there? Is it something like which we should talk about?
Look, the pandemic for sure, it intensified everything. Yes, everything that we lived, it was much more intensified when the pandemic hit, and especially when we had to have the social distancing. Yes, so social distancing, it was the social distance from you, from other people outside your house. But the people under the same roof, they really had to also to get their relationship a little bit more intensified. And that was for some couples, yes, for some family relationships, that was a problem. Yes, and why? Because the pandemic was not easy for anyone. Okay. So we really had to find ways in order to deal with our own internal issues. But just imagine that if we are brothers and we are living under the same roof, I'm facing some problems, so I'm struggling with some things, but you're also facing other your own problems. You're also facing your own struggles, and most of the times, even people who lives on the same building, on the same under the same roof, people not necessarily face the same problems. Sometimes they, and most of the time, they share some problems, but on top of that, they also have their own internal emotional issues. And just imagine that when we put all these people together who are not able to work on their internal issues, and intensified by this excess of confidence, yes, and then many problems popped up from it. Yes, so that was the reason why that many people, that we had lots of breakups, and many people just stopped some marriages, so they
Right.
got into divorces, problems between mother and children, and
Right.
or fathers and children, and so on. But because of this, like, so people really have to find their ways in order to deal with their own internal issues, in order to better deal with the others people. Yes, in order
Oh,
to
you are
build.
just meaning like be your the best version before getting into relationships and all.
Also, but because before trying to better deal with someone who
Yeah.
is also facing some problems,
Hmm.
you have to, the very first step, you have to deal with your own things,
Right.
you know,
Understanding my own
because
self.
exactly, because if you're not able to understand yourself first, how
Right.
can you expect that someone will understand you, you know?
Yeah.
So if you are really setting boundaries, if you are
Hmm.
really making clear about what's important for you, what's not
Hmm.
important for you,
Hmm.
and what's important for another person, and how you can
Right.
get this common sense between
Right.
this, you know. So this could be some ways in order to overcome this intensification of convivence, of social convivence under the same roof. I mean, is that was especially intensified since Corona.
Um. It has changed everything. Yeah. So many people face like overthinking a lot about the things they are in, the relationships they are in. So is it something like their own issues, their own insecurities and all they are making onto the persons outside in front of them?
I would say that they are not able to deal with their own insecurities.
Right.
Just this. They are not able to
Hmm.
handle well with this. And since you're not able to handle well with your own insecurities, you're also not able to express them,
Hmm.
or you express them but in the different ways, because there are
Yeah.
some people that also want to cover it,
Yeah.
and they try to cover it by showing power, showing
Yeah.
um, other things, because they want to show everything except that thing, which
That.
is
Right.
really overwhelms him or her, you know.
Hmm.
So I think the very first step is, please, you better learn how to better deal with your own insecurities,
Hmm.
for then trying to build relationships with others. Otherwise, if someone, for example, also is also not able to handle with your own way of behavior, for example, and this is a problem, yes. So the very first step, take a look at yourself, yes, like really have this very big jump into
Hmm.
your inner self. Try to understand a little bit more about yourself, how your operating function works,
Right.
yes, and then this also will help you to better deal with other people.
So, is there anything to deal with insecurities about the starting meditation and starting how you are within yourself? Like, what is the things which you are lacking, and what is the thing which makes you more uncomfortable, insecure about the things? Is it something related to meditation that if meditation can help in better dealing with insecurities?
Meditation helps a lot. Meditation helps a lot because by meditating, you really have to shift your focus. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you are meditating, you are shifting your focus from something else that that you may be doing now,
Mm.
for example, and then you have to be in a state of mind that you have to be focused in something, and this something is exactly in your inner self. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is one of the best ways. Meditation is even scientifically proven.
Mm.
Meditation is one of the best ways in order to get a little bit more relaxed and calm. And why? Because it's like you have been turned off from the external
Mm.
world,
Right.
and then you are having this very you are really digging inside yourself. Yes, you are getting connected to your inner self. So this has lots of benefits, scientifically proven that meditation is really, really good. And only by connecting to yourself, you also can understand better your strengths, but not also your strengths, your weaknesses. Because by knowing these two, you also can you are also able to come up with some strategies in order to overcome or to better deal with your weaknesses, but also creating some strategies in order to increase your strengths. Okay, and then only by doing this, be aware of the two of them, that you can decrease a bit your insecurity. Because if someone comes to you and just point out something that you have as a weakness, but if this is something that you are already aware of and you are already working on, there's nothing that this person can just attack you, because you know it beforehand. You know even before this person. And on the other hand side, that you're aware of your weaknesses, you also know your talents, your superpowers, and then, okay, I don't have this, but I'm working on this, but I have this, and look how great this is. Look how many things that I can get from this strength. And by meditating, you are really connecting to yourself, and this is and you get clarity on both weaknesses and strengths.
Okay, so is there any clear way or tips to, understand yourself better and understand the things you are insecure about?
I would say try to note down everything that you are really good at.
Okay.
Note down everything that you are good at, and also create another column with everything that you have to improve in. Okay. Everything that you have to improve in. Okay. This one thing that really could bring you this clarity on this. But sometimes we are also blind. We get blind by our own biases. Okay, we are moved by every one of us, me, you, everyone. We are also moved by our biases. So in order to decrease these biases, it's also good if you could come to a person that you really trust. Okay, a person that that likes you, a person that that you can really trust. And then you can ask the same thing. Okay, if you have, for example, a best friend. Okay, but the person that you are really sure that this person, because if you were asking to anyone, yes, you cannot guarantee that this person is really caring about you or really wants your better. So that's the reason why that is very helpful, that you really can ask someone, someone who you really trust, and then you ask the same things. Can you please just let me know what the strengths that you see in me? And then another thing is, and what could be the areas of my life that I could get improved? And then I think that when you have your own assessment about your life, and another assessment which is coming from outside, and you are reducing these biases, even though this person is also bringing some biases along, but anyway, what you are trying to do is diminishing your biases, and then you can get even more clarity about okay, so maybe this is something which is being noticed by more people, but I am not able to see it. Okay. And then you can mix these two worlds. So collect feedback from someone that you really trust, a person that you know that really loves you, and also do the same thing about yourself. Pick these two, make the comparison, try to find the common things that you have to work on in both further developing both weaknesses, yes, working on your weaknesses for overcoming them, but also working on your strengths for getting them even greater.
Right. Great point, man. So the next question is why we should choose the career we love rather than the career our parents suggest us.
Look, to be very straightforward in this answer, I would say that because in the end, you're going to be the one who have to deal with the consequences out of your decision. So this is the reason why it's very important that you have to find your passion. You have to find your purpose in life. Yes, and not just be told by your parents, do this and try to pursue that career or that another career. Okay, because in the end, we know that our parents, they do not live forever, and when they are gone, and then you're going to be the one who still have to deal with your decision that you made now that you're going to do now, right? Because the future is about to come, but in fact the future is being built right now. And so this is the reason why that you have to really to stick to what you think that is important for you. I mean, I'm not telling you that our parents' opinions, they're not trustworthy or they're not like valuable. They are very valuable, but in the end, the decision is exclusively yours. You know, you can ask their opinion, you can talk to them, you also can talk to friends. You know, like, I mean, again, trustworthy friends as people that really love you, and people who really want the best for you. But in the end, you have to find the answers for the things that you want. You know, and again, one of the best ways in order to do that is stay in contact with yourself. You know, like really being in touch with your inner self, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and most important thing, understand what's important for you. Okay, what are your personal values? Okay, what's your personal values? And based on that, you can really trace a real path to your north star. You know, and this would be the best way in order to be real. Yes, one of the things to be really real, but also to be your own word. You know, to be the person that is really true and really fair with yourself. You know, like not someone who is sabotaging you. You know, because this is very important.
Right. No one knows you better than you.
Exactly. Exactly. And keep getting to know yourself even better day after day.
Right.
Do not think that, oh, okay, I know myself very well enough. No, this doesn't exist. Okay. So this is something that this is a never-ending journey. You really have to keep going with your inner self journey.
Remembering the Steve Jobs speech, stay hungry, stay foolish. So the next question is, being focused on only career making us a robot or causing many mental health issues?
Kind of, okay? Not a real robot, yes, but it makes us a bit of robotic, or it makes us to live in a autopilot, okay? And we really have to live our lives at our full, yes, not something which is just part of it. And the career is only part of our life, you know, like it's not our life. Okay? Career is not our life. It's just one of the elements of our life. Okay, and that's the reason why that we have to find some ways in order to integrate work to our career, not the other way around. Okay, so this is the reason why that I also do not. Okay, but this is a very particular opinion. I do not believe in this theory of work-life balance.
Right.
Because if we are talking about balance, this also gives us this idea of competing things. You know, like it seems that the work is competing with life, and that's the reason why that I want to bring them to have balance, to have like on a equal level, which for me is not true. Okay, because life is so much greater. Okay, that work is just one particle of our life. So what we have to do, or what we have to be careful about, is not talking about work-life balance, but talking about work-life integration, how we can
Right.
better integrate work in our lives. So
Right.
this is the best. This is for me the best thing to do.
Oh, well said. And actually, I also felt like when I get into a work and I just get into the zone that work, 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 forget about everything and just work for the whole day. Or maybe just don't really work at all. Just be lazy, the lethargy, the procrastinated. And this is the thing. I cannot balance over the things like work or just 50% work, 50% just enjoy, give it to your family, give it to your relationships and all. I cannot do that. That's the problem I'm facing.
Yes, I would say always have in mind that your life is bigger than anything else.
Right.
You know, and everything that you have to put as a goal for you, for example,
Hmm. Hmm.
you have to think, okay, how this is also contributing for me to have a better life, you know.
Hmm.
And this is the reason why that many people they are unhappy because they are working on the wrong things. Okay, and again we go back to that question about uh, the this pressure, yes, that sometimes it comes from the family, yes, from the parents especially,
Hmm.
in terms of deciding which career path that you should take, you know.
Right.
No, you really have to be true with yourself, and
Hmm.
since you're true with yourself, and then you can make better decisions, and these decisions should contribute for you to have a better life,
Hmm.
because in the end life is our main and biggest investment that we
Right.
have.
Right.
Yes, so everything should contribute to it, not
Hmm.
compete to
Right.
it.
I think our Indian society is so much careeristic that we forget to, live our life at our own self, rather than being a slave of our boss, or maybe just being the same of our careeristic version of ourselves. Like, oh, you are a 20 years old man. You should go on to the gym and you should work out. You should, do the businesses. You should do the startups and all. You should focus on 18 hours work and 6 hours of sleep, this thing. And maybe it's our flaw that we can't really recognize the fact that we have to keep a balance on the everything, every part of our life, that enjoyment is also necessary.
You said something very interesting, and
Right.
thank you a lot for saying that. Yes, that sometimes we just find ourselves just following a flow,
Hmm.
you know, and and I think that especially your generation, you're very good at breaking these rules, breaking, questioning, challenging these patterns, these social patterns, and so on.
Right.
So I think that's something that your generation is doing very good.
Hmm.
And I really encourage you guys to keep doing this, because this is one of the ways in order to change. Yes, because when we change ourselves, we are able to change our circle of
Hmm.
influence, and this also impacts our society, and then ultimately this also changes the world.
Hmm.
So if you want to make an impact in the
Hmm.
world, you start with yourself.
Okay, so final advice or suggestion to Gen Z and millennials. Last question.
So I would say that's exactly what I said yes, just before. I think that this is the best way in order to keep impacting positively, for
Yeah.
sure, the world, is like just be true with yourself, be yourself, and be very aware and conscious about your decisions. Yes, because your decisions will shape your life.
Right.
So again, the future that you want to have for you in the next 5, 10, 20, or until you die, in fact, you started to build it
Hmm.
today, right now.
Right.
So I really, for example, I feel very happy, to be honest with you, like having this discussion, this talk with you, because I see this spark in your eyes. I can see that you are really interested in learning something new and really applying this to your life.
Thank
And
you.
what you're doing is really great, because you're not like just keeping this with yourself. You're really willing to share this with other
Yeah.
people. And for sure, this conversation that we had today this also will impact so many people that we will never have any clue who were they, because but for sure, this will also help other people also to think outside the box. This also will help people to see the same things they are used to seeing every single day.
Right.
But now, after this conversation, we are enabling them to see from another perspective, which is great.
Right.
Which is great. I mean, they do not have to agree with everything that we discussed today, okay? But if they incorporate at least a bit of the positive potential that we are sharing with the world, yes, because since this is broadcasted, this is also be shared with the world. We are also changing the world. We are also impacting the world. Yes, so everything comes from us. Everything starts from us, and I think that your generation is doing great in this.
Thank you.
It's really influencing, and it's really bringing your own characteristics to the way that we make decisions, the way that we build relationships, the way that we shape the labor market. So you guys are really impacting the world, and I think that you today you did a very great and important contribution to it. So just keep the good work, and I really hope that that your initiative also can inspire other young people like you, and these people are also able to keep impacting positively the world. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also say that love yourself. Don't judge yourself by the things which you are lacking. Love yourself and try to learn to love the things which you are weakened on, because there is no one ever will love you more than you. No one knows you better than you. So keep in love, be in love with yourself and love yourself. Work-life balance is important, as you said, and also the thing is, you have to keep an eye on the things which is making you making your progress little bit slower. So work on the things, and life is not fair, and probably everything is imperfect, and you are not perfect. No one is perfect. You have your own flaws, they have their own flaws. You have your own plus point, they have their own plus point. So better to work on your plus point than working on the weekend points. And there is nothing to controllable. There is 99% you cannot control. So do not focus on the things, and focus on the thing which you can control. Improve your personality, improve your be your best person, and be your best version, and work on yourself, work on your goals, work on your career, work on your relationships. And that's it for this episode. Thanks a lot, Cristiano Coelho, to join with us.
Thank you for the invite.
It means a lot. I'm closing this episode here. So see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.